a buddy of mine, Mitch, greatest guy, he had a Countach. Loves his Countach. It was a dream car of his. He'd trade it for a Gallardo. That's a whole nother story. It's awesome. But I'm eating with one of my friends, Reza, at lunch, our spot we go to all the time, Charleston's. Shout out to Charleston's. My buddy Mitch calls and says, hey, I don't know if it's true or not. Local to us, there's a guy that redoes 60s Mustangs. And, you know, I'm talking carbon ceramic brakes. I mean, you can spend $300,000-$400,000 on these Mustangs. He does an incredible job, sends them all over the world. One of the best Mustang builders there is. One of his clients told him, hey, I've got this Diablo SV I don't know much about. I've had it for 9 years, and I'm ready to get rid of it. That guy's, the owner of the company, reached out to my buddy Mitch, who had the Countach, and said, hey, you know anybody that wants a Diablo? Well, at this point, I'd had my 91 and my 92 Diablos. The red one was terrible. The black one I bought was a sorted out car. It was actually a really nice driver in spite of the early generation Diablo shortcomings. He says, hey, I don't know if it's legit or not, but the guy's spending several $100,000 on this Mustang, so I imagine it's something to look into. Do you want to go see this Diablo? It's in Sacramento, California. So I said, give me the guy's contact information. I'll call him and see, fill him out. I don't even know what he wants for it. And this was right around the time where Countachs were starting to gain value and the Diablos were starting to creep up a little bit. It was 2017, 2018. So I called the guy that night, and turns out he'd acquired the car because his brother-in-law got in a tax problem, had some tax evasion, got into some trouble, needed $125,000 like immediately. So borrowed it from his brother-in-law, and the collateral was this purple SV Monterey Edition Diablo. And this guy kind of liked cars, but he was more into the muscle cars. The Lamborghini wasn't really his thing, and it never quite ran right. So he was always frustrated with it, couldn't get it, wasn't taking it to the right mechanics and such. So for 9 years, it basically set. And so I call him. It's a legit deal, I can tell from the guy's voice. And I was like, so what are you wanting for it? He's like, well, 9 years ago, whenever I had it appraised, and it appraised for $125,000. That's how much my brother-in-law owes me. I'm just trying to get $125,000 for it. The normal Diablos at this point were starting to creep up to $125,000, $150,000, and the SVs weren't very many on the market. But for a good clean SV, I mean, it's $250,000, $300,000. I was like, this is unreal. So I said, I'll be on the next flight to Sacramento. So I booked a flight that night for the next morning. Flew out to Sacramento. This guy's house was incredible. Come to find out, this guy had a company with like 4,000 employees. We spend the afternoon with him, drive the car. Once the car's warmed up, it drives out great. Transmission, everything feels good. He was such a good guy. And I had kind of a guilty conscience because I was like, I don't know that my intention is to buy this because it's my dream car. I mean, purple with the chrome wheels and gold hardware on the wheels. Like, it's so flashy. Purple's not my color. Like, I want to be honest with this guy. So we ended up going to dinner. I mean, we spent like 8 hours together, hit it off. He loved my story, being self-employed and growing a business. And so I told him, I was like, man, this car's worth a lot more than what I'm buying it for. I just want to be honest with you. I want to clear my conscience. So he's like, Andy, honestly, you're a great dude. And, you know, you can do whatever you want with the car. I'm not worried about it. I'm just glad to get my $125,000 back. I have the car shipped back. You know, my intention kind of was to flip it. I have a whole list of cars I want to at least experience. Own them for 3 or 6 months, experience them. And of course, the Diablo, me being 39, that was right in the sweet spot of me growing up. I love the Diablos. Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite movies because of the scene with the Diablo. I mean, it's just great. I got this car back. I wanted to experience it. I wanted to get it fixed and run it idling right. But I also knew that I wanted to make some money on it. And I know, you know, cars like this don't sell overnight. It's a 3-6 month thing sometimes. I had shipped it down to Dallas, and knowing that whenever I made the post on Lamborghini Talk, like, it had this idle issue. But I went ahead and posted it because I thought there's nobody going to buy this thing anytime soon. And I kind of slid in there, like, I didn't say it was for sale, but kind of you could tell in my language it was for sale. Within 24 hours, one of the admins on Lamborghini Talk, VCR, a guy named Al, reaches out to me. He lives in Japan. And he said, hey, Andy, I saw your Diablo. I've been looking for an SV to match my Murcielago SV and my Aventador SV. Would you consider selling it? And I was like, my post paid off. We talked numbers, and he was a pretty shrewd negotiator. He's pretty adamant about where he wanted the price to be. I was adamant about my price. He said, well, let me just fly out and see the car. And 23 hours later, he shows up from Japan. And this is like no lie. He booked a flight immediately, came out. Such a cool experience. I picked him up at the airport in it. He brought me a gift, like this handmade flower glass blown, just the kindest guy I've ever met, and such a gentleman. And to bring me a gift, it was just like, I didn't know he did that, but I guess that's just Japanese culture. Drive back to my house. The car's performing flawlessly. I did send it to get the idling issue fixed, and the car ran perfect, like a top. We drive the car back to my house. Just really hit it off. He's such a nice guy. Loves the car. So it's time to negotiate. And, I had a number in my head, and it was full retail, and I figured this guy's from Japan, and he's not leaving without this car. Retail in my mind was $275,000 for that car. He showed up. It did have a bumper out of alignment. It looked like somebody had taken off maybe to respray it, didn't get back on, and negotiated around some other things, and he was pretty dead set on his price of about $250,000. And so that's where we landed. And today it's probably worth $500,000 or more. So, I'm glad for him. I was able to capitalize on that, and then, he's doubled again his money. I took him back to the airport. He flew back home, and the next day I've got a wire transfer for the money, and the car got shipped off to Japan. And that car is such a cool, not all Japanese people like crazy colors and such, but you see a lot of modified Lamborghinis that are just wild. So to have an OEM Diablo SV in this color for Japan, like just such a cool car to go to Japan. My friend that referred me to the deal, he's also all about the story. Mitch does not care about money. He's all about the story. So I was like, Mitch, what can I give you? I almost feel bad. I had this incredible opportunity. You just hand it to me on a silver platter. You said, just go take it and do what you want with it. He said, you owe me a Big Mac. I was like, Big Mac's just not going to work. I want to give him something more special. So me being a landscape guy, I called his wife and I said, is there anything like I can do that's more sentimental? Like something I can do for you guys? He's like, well, actually, Mitch was wanting these trees and some landscape lighting done in the front of his house. It's like, that's perfect. Like, it's a gift that'll keep on giving. He got this house, after his dad passed away. He grew up in this house. So, I bought exactly what she'd said he wanted, planted these trees, lit them up at night, kind of helped justify my almost guilt, if you will, for him handing me this deal. And at that time, that was a great deal for me to have that happen.
We love the team at Patrick Adair Designs because they make rings and other jewelry out of some of the most amazing and interesting materials on Earth, and even occasionally from space. But they've honestly outdone themselves with their latest creation. They have made a series of rings using the aluminum that they cut out of an OEM wheel for a Bugatti Veyron. Obviously, I love the Bugatti Veyron, maybe one day, I hope. But they've also used forged carbon fiber, gold, and platinum to accent the rings however you want them. And honestly, as cool as the rings are, I think I like the case they come in even better. They have replicated the W16 engine on the top out of sterling silver. It's a cherry wood box with like carbon fiber and titanium screws. Super duper cool. So check it out now at the link in the description below to get yourself a super cool ring from a great company, Patrick Adair Designs. And if you order now during the month of July, you'll also get free at checkout either a carbon fiber ring or a tungsten pendant. So they've been a great supporter of VINwiki all these years, and they've created an awesome product here. So check it out now at the link in the description below.